Now tuning in to Earbud Media. Audio for everyone.
Great, just to test your recording on there, Kyle, could you tell me how attracted you are to Optimus Prime?
Right out the gate.
Okay, on a scale of 1 to 10, with 1 being absolutely zero attraction, would not smash, 10 being oof, yes, take me now. A solid 15. And I don't want to explain myself further. Wow. I don't think I need to explain myself further.
You don't.
Honestly.
Yeah. Your Honor.
Prime, what a specimen of a man. Is he a man?
A cryptid, some might say.
A cryptid.
Yeah, you are valid, and I don't want to yuck anyone's yums, because we have certainly, in the span of this podcast, said some pretty vile things of things and people that we are attracted to, so I don't think we're in any condition.
The amount of things I've said
judge.
About Count from Sesame Street alone means everything that you have said about Optimus Prime is more than valid.
I thought that you were going to say Count, Count Chocula, and I was like, oh! A choice?
Here's the thing, Allie is attracted to anyone who can do basic math. So
that's
really
anywhere. Anyone who has the working intelligence of a calculator, I'm just like, wow. I love them. Whoa.
10 out of town. Zooey mama.
Oh my god.
Ooga.
But I will say, Optimus Prime's voice, hot.
Oh,
so
100%.
I get it.
Yeah, I can concede on that for sure.
Mm-hmm. Have you ever been on the Universal ride at Universal Studios Hollywood for the Transformers ride?
No, I have not.
There is this character that I'm 90% sure that they made up for the ride called Evac. And every time I go on, I'm like, Evac. Gotta love me some Evac. He does not exist in the movies. He's only in the ride. I'm 90% sure.
That's amazing.
Yeah, that feels like a fake name. And I love that. I love that for them.
Yeah.
Well, welcome to our side podcast of Into the Optimus Prime. It's a sex and cryptid space.
Yeah.
Who'd have thought? But we're here, It's okay. I'm finally glad that after 4 years, we finally made it to our true calling, which is talking about Transformers. And also, by proxy, Megan Fox. So we've landed where we're supposed to be.
Yeah, so
Full
we're not
circle,
entirely off-brand,
We're just a hop, skip, and a jump away from Jennifer's body, which is what Cody has wanted to talk about this whole time. So,
It's true.
Kyle, we have been getting folks knocking on our doors across the country wanting you on our show. How they found us, Lord knows. How they found both of us at the same time, Lord knows.
Right.
But they have wanted you on the show without realizing that we already had you goddamn scheduled on the show.
Just be patient, okay?
Yeah, we've been moods. We've known each other.
Yeah, that we're
homies.
We were already in talks. So I'm so glad that you are here. I have been awaiting this day.
I'm glad our people could talk to your people.
Yeah.
Really get this in the books,
I'm so glad that our agents connected.
Oh, of course.
That they had to, they shifted and they made it work. It's all been good.
Mm-hmm.
For those folks, those very rare folks who have the audacity to not know who you are, could you tell folks who you are and what you do?
Okay, yeah. So I'm Kyle. On TikTok, I'm at smallest Kyle. I make a lot of various skits that I think are funny, but
they are just objectively
a lot of Twilight skits. Thank you so much. But a lot of Twilight skits. I do the Twilight Sleepover series. So I think that's I don't know. I think that's where most like of the Twilight people like know me from, is from the Twilight Sleepover. Yeah.
Hell yeah. Fabulous.
Amazing.
Stunning.
And one of the folks that we had on the show earlier this year, Viv, told us that
I love Viv.
know each other.
Yes.
Small
The
fucking
stars aligned.
world.
Yeah, I've known Viv for the past 4 years. We went to the same acting conservatory together. They were a year above me. So they were a second year when I was a first year. They're so talented. Oh my god. Have you heard them sing?
Oh, yeah.
We
It's
on the show,
unbelievable.
I'm pretty sure.
They're amazing.
Yeah.
So that is, I love that. I love that it is a Twilight TikTok is a small world, but a
Yeah.
very passionate world.
Yeah, everyone knows
That
each
it
other.
is.
Yeah.
Yes. One of the things that we like to do before getting into the trash that is often that we speak of here in this space is to check in about how we are. So if you could let us know how you are doing and also a happy thing that has happened to you recently.
Yeah, I'm doing pretty well. I think I'm like a pretty happy person in general, so I've been doing pretty well. Last
How does that
week
feel,
was my...
by the way? just wondering, just for science.
Yeah, asking for a friend.
You know how like Emmett lives like head empty, just vibes? That's the kind of the existence that I have going for me right now. So
I love that so much.
like no thoughts, no bad vibes, just me and my bag of hard-boiled eggs.
Yeah, absolutely.
This is like such a dumb thing to be happy about, but it was my friend Kyle's birthday last week. So he's tall Kyle and I'm small Kyle. So
Great.
we couldn't meet up in person because, you know, Miss Rona, but we decided we were going to have an Among Us like play date birthday party thing sort of going on. So on his birthday, we all met up and played Among Us, and I had the best imposter round, and that is such a dumb thing to be happy about. But oh my god, I was getting so predictable. Everyone knew my tells, and then it was just brilliant. It was a bloodbath. I just murder in space, and I felt so alive.
Yes.
That is amazing. I love that for you so much.
Thank you.
That is something that brings me joy, is that like birthdays have been able to get creative this year. So that, I love that for you. Cody, how are you doing?
I'm doing good. Just vibing, you know, living my truth. I'm very happy this week, largely because of Elliot Page.
Yes!
That's my thing. I'm just so happy.
I'm gonna start crying, Cody. Please don't.
I know, I will. I'll do it. We'll have a group cry. It'll be very healing. No, it was fucking amazing, and I'm very happy for him.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember just Twitter for like a couple hours was very good before it got very not good for a little bit, but it was very just good and happy and excited. And now I just want to rewatch Whip It as a trans text.
Nice. Nice.
I was also like, I can't believe I have to like keep working today, knowing that this
Same.
bombshell dropped. This is a national holiday. Can we just all call off?
I think you should just call out of work.
there are
Like,
bigger
sorry,
things.
Can't go in. Elliot Page. You know how it goes.
Yeah, you know how it is. Come
Yeah.
on.
I was expecting the news to be the same as how it was about a month ago when everyone started banging pots out in the streets and like screaming
Right.
out in the streets. Just like, I want to be woken up to that news about Elliot.
Just parades. Yeah.
It just recontextualizes in such a positive way when I was gifted Juno for my, I think it was like Christmas when I was like 15, and now I'm just like, God fucking bless. Like,
Yeah.
I love that so much.
Yes.
Yeah. And the way he he came out in the most trans mask way possible, which was Elliot, the name.
Elliot.
One of the 5 names. And like immediately went for the trans mask profile photo, which is like him in a hoodie with his sunglasses and like a downturned angle, sun flaring behind him. It was like an expert run. Like you did it the best way you could have done it.
It's just like they looked at a bingo board and he was like,
Yeah.
yep, got it. Like, amazing. I love that.
How are you, dude? What's up?
Oh, I'm living. I'm doing okay. Just counting down the days until winter break, which is great. My students are like, so we have work to do? And I'm like, yeah, unfortunately. And they're like, you can just not assign us stuff. And I'm like, yeah, I wish. I was told I can't do that. It's a lot easier when you're in person and you can just, watch movies or whatever the fuck. It's
Polar
a lot harder to do that. Yeah, I saw that on Twitter that folks who were younger than me watched that in school. That would have been an incredibly traumatizing experience for me.
Really?
I hate that movie. That's like an uncanny valley. Ooh.
Oh, it's horrifying. The animation is so trippy.
Yeah.
The guy that lives on top of the train who's like a ghost.
Ooh.
I don't think we ever figured out who he was, where he came from, where he was going, what his purpose was, other than to be terrifying. But
to me, the Polar Express has always been one of those things that, like, when as a kid, that is what I thought of. That was like the punishment if you weren't, quote, like, good for Christmas. Like, it's so scary to me. And I haven't gotten over that. My happy thing for this week, though, is it's a visual that I have provided. I saw it was like a resurfaced memory for me of this turtle from my youth. I want to say Franklin.
It's Franklin, yeah.
Okay,
Franklin.
yeah, great. A very curmudgeon-y turtle from my youth.
Yeah.
I saw this on Twitter just used as a meme, like, with no context of it being Franklin. I was like, wait a fucking minute. Like, I grew up with you.
I know this man.
It was like seeing someone in the grocery store and being like, wait, I shared my whole life with you.
We're all friends, you and I.
And he's just so angry. And I had so many feelings because at once I was like, wait a second, I grew up with you. And then I was like, wait a second, now I relate to you.
Oh
That's
my God.
weird.
Yeah. I never made that connection, but I do feel like you watching Franklin as a young person really makes sense for who you are right now.
Franklin is just such a wet blanket of a character, and I feel that. I always felt that as a kid, and now it just makes me want to go watch Franklin. That and that, like, dragon show about the
Dragon
brother and
Tales.
sister.
Dragon Tales.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh my God. Dragon Tales fucking
fuck.
owns. Yeah.
Man, that song always ripped ass. But, like, in a good way, not like farting. God damn it. I don't know. What the hell do you kids say? Anyway, there's probably a segue here, but I don't know it. This is the part I have been incredibly excited to hear from you. Can you tell us your Twilight backstory?
Yes. Okay. So it all began in the 5th grade. That's not even a lie. It literally began in the 5th grade. I had a best friend, and we were always, like, super competitive with each other to, like, get the best grades in the class, but we also read all the time. I think she was the one that got me into the Mortal Instruments series as well, but we both read Twilight around the same time, and from the beginning, it was a match made in heaven, and we did, like, everything together regarding Twilight. Like, my mom wouldn't let me shop at Hot Topic because she was like, no, you're gonna get bullied for that. And honestly, knowing how enthusiastic I was as a child, good call. But so I didn't have, like, any, like, Twilight shirts or anything, but I did get a Twilight jewelry box when I was in the 5th grade. And it's I've talked about this before, like, on some of my videos. It's black, and it has the blue filter on it, of course, and it has portraits of Edward and Bella, and it says, and so the lion fell in love with the lamb, in the Twilight font. And it's
classic.
It's a music box, so when you wind it up and you open it up, the Cullen family crest pops out, and it plays Claire de Lune.
Oh.
Whoa.
Yes. We love a good Debussy.
Yes.
Listen. You know we do.
And my best friend, whose mom was equally as strict, didn't let her shop at, like, Hot Topic, period. So she came to school one day wearing a gray t-shirt, and I remember this vividly, and had printed out a picture of Robert Pattinson carrying Kristen Stewart, and had safety pinned that picture to her t-shirt. had printed out a picture of her own face.
My God.
And had taped her own face over Kristen's and wore it to school. And I thought it was the coolest thing. And we did this in the 5th grade. Like, this is a real thing that happened.
Oh my gosh. That's amazing.
I love this rogue Photoshop moment that
Yeah.
you had.
Real DIY
Yeah.
Yes.
sensibilities.
Like, our moms wouldn't let us buy the Twilight merch, so we had to make it ourselves. Yeah.
I love that. So it started in 5th grade. That makes, I mean, that has been a common tale that we have had here. Was this something, a feeling for Twilight that has stayed with you since 5th grade, or has it changed and evolved since then?
Yeah, it's changed and evolved. I mean, like, obviously when you're in the 5th grade, everything you do is going to be cringe, and you're like, that's fine, I don't care, I'm in the 5th grade. And then you hit the 7th grade, and you're like, cringe culture, ugh, disgusting, I could never. And so, obviously, I went through a phase, the dark days in middle school, where I was like, I can't associate myself with who I was in the 5th grade. Twilight, never again. And so here we are now. And another evolution was I was super Team Jacob back in the day. Like, way back in the day.
Whoa.
Yeah, I know.
Whoa.
I did not have a fully formed frontal lobe yet. And I was like...
That's true.
Also, like, the only book that I read when I was a kid was New Moon. I would just, like, disregard all the other books. I just loved New Moon because it was so sad.
Wow.
And I was like, wow, Jacob's amazing. And just from, like, the first half of New Moon alone, Jacob is amazing. But then you read the rest of the series and you're like, oh, so, like, Edward, yeah, makes sense. So, so Team Edward today, love Twilight with a passion for like, as of today. But for a while, yeah, it was like, I cannot even acknowledge my shameful past. Which is, like, super tragic if you think about it, like, the way that it's so indoctrinated in, like, you know, teen girls, I don't identify as a girl now, but, like, so indoctrinated in teen girls. Like, you can't like feminine things. Mm-hmm. You can't like things targeted towards women, or you are weak. And, like, that's such bullshit, you know? Like, there's so many things that you can say about Twilight to critique its existence, but all the critiques that we have are definitely, like, not the same critiques that men have, which is like, oh, it's for girls, you know?
Yes, absolutely. That is unreal. That the idea of just reading New Moon and being like, you know what, the rest of this canon, fake. Disregard. What an artistic choice. I love that for you. Especially to go from that to now, when you have such an accurate laugh that Aro had. It's such a talent.
Thank you.
It's unreal. Since we are on this too, I wanted to come back to one of the theories that you have mentioned in one of your videos before about your love, your light, Emmett Cullen. And
adore him.
Yes.
And him being a Twitch streamer in 2020. Could you tell us a little bit more about this theory?
Oh, yes, 100%. I think... So, I feel like he would immediately give it away. Like, there would be no, like, if, ands, or buts. Like, immediately, right off the bat, he'd be like, oh, yeah, so, vampire. And then his audience would be like, what? I'm sorry? But the thing is, he's so, like, the antithesis of what a classic vampire is. I feel like Edward and Jasper really encapsulate, like, what it is to be a vampire, you know? Like, they're very willowy, they're very elegant. The way that they speak, even, which I think was a really interesting choice. Like, even the movies, like, the way that they behave is so much more old-fashioned versus, like, ultimate, like, bro, jock type Emmett, who I think adapted to modern times really well. In comparison.
Right.
And he's just so bulky, and he's so buff, and he's so friendly. I feel like if it weren't for the fact that, like, you know, being in the sunlight would just completely give away that he is a vampire, he would 100% be, like, the surfer dude type, I feel like. He's just, he has that sort of, like, ability to him. But because he's, like, the complete antithesis of what a vampire is, I feel like he would say it, and then, like, for a while, his audience would just be like, ah ha ha, Emmett, so funny. This guy, gotta love this guy.
Yeah.
until like 5 days later and he hasn't stopped streaming. They're like, oh, wait a minute.
Wait a goddamn minute.
Hold on. Whoa.
He does every charity stream and just does not get off. Like, whoa, wait a second, Emmett.
I can imagine him too having a full like stream room and everything, and being like, "Don't go in there."
Yes.
Just like, why are there like weird, colorful lights coming out from under that door? Don't worry about it. It's fine. It's nothing. It's nothing.
Emmett, this is inside. You can't say you work on cars in here. No. This is where I do
really
inside
small cars. Really tiny ones, like tech decks.
I got into trains recently. It's
Like toy
it's
trains.
Rosalie. Don't worry about it. Here's my real question about this. What games would he play, though?
Oh my god. So I feel like he would play like the traditional, like, you know, normal first person shooter games that you would see. Oh my god, I think he would love Overwatch. Are you kidding me?
Oh, absolutely.
He would love Overwatch.
Yeah, sure.
I think he would love Zarya, and I think he would love Reinhardt. I think that he would just like mainly play tanks. He loves tanks.
I agree. I definitely imagine him in... When I think of Emmett as a streamer, I think immediately of like a TF2 tank.
Yes.
So that makes a lot of sense to me. I also see...
Yes, he would love to play the heavy.
I also see him just streaming The Sims and just like never getting off of the character creation.
I love
just
that.
Loving that.
Yeah, he just makes a profile for every single person in the family.
Oh, absolutely.
Like,
Do you remember that
look, it's
episode
you.
of The Office where Jim discovers Dwight's like other life or whatever, that one game, and he literally just makes himself and does the exact same thing that he does in real life? That's Emmett. That's Emmett to a T.
Yeah.
Like, the world is at his fingertips in The Sims, and he just does the exact same thing that he would do in real life.
Yeah.
I love that. I love the idea that he would just make his whole family, and when he gets to Edward, just do enough things wrong that it would piss him off.
Yeah.
Edward gets in the chat like, Emmett, that's wrong. Stop. Like, that's factually and biologically incorrect. So stop it.
I'm like really torn between Edward like not knowing how to use a computer at all and just like taking 4 years to type out one message to Emmett, or like writing paragraphs upon paragraphs of like Shakespearean prose and be like, that is not at all the way that I would behave, and the way that you think that I would behave is just simply this injustice that you have done against me, this way that you have slighted me so. And I was like, okay, chill.
Yes.
Like paragraphs upon paragraphs in
Yeah.
his chat, and I was like, okay, LMAO.
The headcanon that Edward has multiple degrees and is a literal immortal being but does not know how to use a smartphone really speaks to me. I love that. So I do like the idea that it would have to be Edward like dictating and Bella being the one in the Twitch chat being like, Edward doesn't like this.
Yes. Yes. I love that.
I like that a lot.
Yeah.
Because I feel like there could be a lot of editorializing on Bella's part where she's just not saying anything Edward is saying, which I appreciate a lot.
Yeah. Bella has big mod energy.
Mm-hmm.
Totally.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
Ooh. That's really good. Edward's like waxing prose over here, and Bella can simplify it down to like 5 words total.
Alice would be a great mod, too. Because she could definitely predict when stuff would happen. I love that. Not a frequent mod, but a supportive mod. I love that.
And she's so kind and she's so patient. She would do so well.
Yes, she would definitely not allow like rules to be messed with. Everything would stay cool. I love that.
Yeah.
Speaking of rules being broken, Cody, do you want to take us into current events corner?
Ooh, yes, let's do it. We have a piece from Cinema Blend, which it says, turns out Kristen Stewart was the big rule breaker on the Twilight set.
Or?
Boing, 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 boing.
This Aries, shocker.
Yeah, what? Kristen Stewart? No.
No.
Being a little rascal? No. This piece is just delightful.
I love it very much.
Really peels back the curtain of, like, just all of her rascal tendencies and that have been, cemented in years past. It's good to see.
I love this very much. The thing that I find very interesting about this piece, which was published by Jessica Rodden, so thank you for this fine piece of news, is mentioning, of course, that Casey was up to these shenanigans, and mainly was doing this to help Nikki Reed, otherwise known by us in the Twilight Saga as Rosalie, because of the fact that Nikki was too scared to do this herself.
That's so sweet.
So according to this, Nikki is a big rule follower. So, sure. And she wanted to snag some, quote, baseball shoes. Apparently this took them a long time to figure out how to do. A lot of, like,
It was
Ocean's
a long
11.
con. Yeah.
But it was apparently worth doing. The baseball shoes in question were in fact Converse. And even though Nikki was too scared to grab them herself, Casey was the one that eventually just kind of swiped them and gave them to Nikki, who still has them to this day.
Aw, I love that.
What a piece of history.
I know. She says they're still in a display case somewhere. Oh, that Summit would have put them in a display case somewhere, but she still has them and says that they're, like, really important to her, which I love.
That's awesome.
Cute.
Yeah. Just says that rules are made to be broken, which I completely agree.
I do love that this piece ends with the fact that it's like, well, K2 did say that she didn't swipe anything from the set of Charlie's Angels, so her life of crime might be over.
Anything that they figured out, anyway.
Yeah.
Right, exactly. Come on.
Exactly. Yeah, we don't know about Charlie's Angels, and they said nothing was taken from Happiest Season, but, like, who's to say, you know?
Who's to say?
Nobody snitches, then nobody knows.
Right. Be
Right,
cool,
exactly.
all right?
We have a really important question, and correct me if I'm wrong, Kyle, but you went to an arts college, is that correct?
Mm-hmm. I went to an acting conservatory in 2016 and graduated in 2018.
Perfect. I'm so
Hell
glad
yeah.
that we have this question then for you. So one of our patrons, Jillian, asked us this question, and I'm so glad that we have an expert to be able to answer it for us. If Forks High School put on a production of Grease, which of the Cullens and Bella's human friends would be involved, and in what roles, on stage and off, would they have?
Ooh, I love that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Finally, someone's
Let's see.
asking the important questions.
Yeah, seriously. It's about time.
Well, right off the top of my head, I'm thinking, because Forks is like a tiny high school, I don't think that their arts program is going to be like super huge. So I feel like the people
Right.
that are going to be like within the cast are probably also going to have to do some of the heavy work of like putting together the set and like, you know. That being said, I think that Alice not only would play Frenchie, I think that she would
Yeah.
also be doing the costumes.
Absolutely.
Big Frenchie vibes
Mhm.
from Alice.
I'm also wondering how much of Esme's involvement in the PTSA they could do, like, involve in this without it being sus.
Right. Yeah.
So, but yes, I agree. Alice has to be Frenchie. Yes.
Bella would not be on stage at all. She would hate to be
No.
on stage.
No.
No way.
Yeah.
I think she's she could do like a stage manager
Oh,
type situation.
absolutely.
Because she loves control so
Yeah.
much.
That
And she's a
Virgo
Virgo,
side of
so
her.
you know, like,
Yeah.
right.
Yeah, she's super organized. I think that she would 100% do that.
Yeah.
I feel like Jessica would want to be Sandy, but she would need to be Rizzo.
That's exactly what I was thinking.
I don't.
Okay.
I think
Okay,
she
good.
would by default be Sandy though. I feel like it's her, Sandy, Rosalie, Rizzo. Is that crazy?
No, I don't think that's crazy. But Rosalie is a senior.
That's
Yes.
true.
Mm.
That's
I
true.
don't- I just don't
Seniority,
know-
you know. Yeah.
I think it would be so funny though for Rosalie to get Sandy and for Jessica to be like that theater girl. Be like, oh,
Oh yeah.
let's like such an interesting casting choice, you know?
Right?
Like,
Yeah.
Why is there a part of me, I know this would never happen because the idea of getting Edward on the stage and the screen in modern day 2005 would never happen.
yeah.
But there is something about Edward that really resonates with Jan to me.
Oh my god.
I want him to be a pink lady so bad.
That would be so
Yeah.
funny.
That would be fabulous.
I need it. I do think that the science teacher, his name is escaping me, would have to be the baseball coach, Coach Calhoun.
Sure.
The one that they throw pies at the end.
Yeah,
I just think that needs to happen.
Love that.
absolutely.
This is so dumb. I want to see Emmett be Teen Angel.
Oh,
Yes.
yes. He would crush that. Are you kidding me?
Steal the show.
Oh my god. Yeah.
Mm.
Yes.
Oh, and you know what would make Jess even angrier if she's Rizzo? If
What?
Mike was Danny Zuko, opposite
Oh
Rosalie
my
Sandy.
God.
Yeah.
She'd be so mad.
Yeah.
She would be.
Just the mental picture of Mike Noon as Danny Zuko is giving me
so
like
funny.
severe palpitations right now.
I hate him so much. And the
Yeah.
idea of seeing him do pelvic thrusts on stage in front of literal minor, he's also a minor, but in
Yeah.
front of literal minors makes bile come up on my throat right now.
But it would so happen because he would be like the one straight guy that just like kind of shows up at a rehearsal and they're like, we need a man. Like, and
Oh,
no one else
100%.
auditioned. Please be Danny Zuko, as it always happens. And they're like, here you go.
Absolutely. Well, yeah, because if Bella shows up, he's going to show up.
True.
The last
True.
thing I'll say about this, the last one for sure, is that if the book is actually accurate and Lauren is there, Jessica would play Sandy and Lauren would play Rizzo. That's all
Yeah.
I'll say.
Yeah.
But I do think that Rosalie would need to be in this. So
Yeah.
I love that a lot. I need to know all of your thoughts about the host, Kyle, before we dive into this week's chapters.
Oh my gosh.
Had you read this before?
Yes, I read it like when it first came out. I remember all the hype around it too, because I can't remember, did the host come out after Twilight or in the middle of it coming out?
I think it came out in the middle. Let me just do my little hacker thing and confirm.
Because I remember
Let me
everyone
click-clack.
freaking out over the fact that Stephanie Meyer was releasing a science fiction book.
Weirdly, it came out the year that the movie Twilight was published, came out.
That is
That's
interesting.
weird.
Yeah, I loved The Host when I first read it, and I haven't read it since it first came out. So, like, when you told me, oh yeah, we're going to be discussing The Host, I was like, oh yes. So just reading it, oh my god. It is so much better than I remember it being, and I remember liking it a lot when I read it the first time.
Whoa.
Whoa.
Yeah.
That's a long time ago.
Yeah.
For
It's true.
sure.
It's true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And two, were you confused by it? Because the first couple chapters when we were reading this, I want to say like 2 weeks ago, I feel like I was confused and Cody was reading the audiobook.
Yeah.
And
Oh yeah, there's
it was
so
just a
much
lot of
stuff that they just
confusion.
throw at you. Yeah. Like
Yeah.
immediately right out of the bat, they're like, all right, here's all the world building. Here's like 47 like different phrases and terminology that you need to know to understand the universe. And it just like it starts at like a 10 and it keeps going.
Yes, I agree. Can you tell us the mode that you are reading this book in? Because apparently it matters.
Oh, yeah, I have the book. I've been reading the book.
So the hard copy,
Yeah.
like the physical copy?
Yeah, I
Okay.
have the hardback.
Great.
yeah.
Because we've had folks reading the audiobook, and apparently that is rough.
Oh.
And I am reading the Kindle version, which has an annotated playlist attached.
It has
which
what?
There are quite a few entries in the chapters we're looking at today, which I will mention. But throughout the Kindle version, sometimes things will just be linked and there's just a playlist at the end where Stephanie is like, as you're reading this, I suggest listening to this certain Linkin Park song.
So like a 2013 AO3 fanfiction, it has a playlist at the end of each chapter.
Exactly.
That's
But
amazing.
embedded into the
That is
actual
amazing.
document.
Yes, Stephanie.
Yeah, it's a choice. So when we last paused on this text, we found out that Jared existed and that he has no social boundaries.
Mm-hmm.
And that he goes on kissing people without asking first,
Yes.
which is a choice. And then we also found out that Melanie has a brother,
Yes.
which she was trying to keep away from Wanderer.
Yes.
Which is apparently important. I will say...
Wander's a little nosy.
Wanderer is a little... to be fair, it is Wanderer's job to be nosy.
Right.
But I
Yeah.
agree, Wanderer is pretty nosy. When we start off on chapter 5, which is titled Uncomforted, I don't like this word, Hey, Stephanie, I don't think that's a word. I don't like it.
Yeah.
I'm going to have to use it in Words with Friends, but I don't like it. So stop it. Apparently we have now skipped in time a little bit.
Yes.
Presumably a couple of months, it seems like. And we are in a therapy session.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know that Stephanie has gone to therapy before, is the thing. And that makes this a little bit confusing to read.
Mm-hmm.
just from an experience level, some might say.
Right. Yeah.
I will also say every time that we get back into this book, I am astounded by the little details that Stephanie includes to remind us that Wanderer is an alien. Specifically, just like right off the bat in the first paragraph of when she writes, the little muscle twitches and shifts had become familiar through months of exposure. And it's like, yeah, my man, we get it. Facial expressions. They're a thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yes. I am curious how you all felt about this therapy session that Wanderer is experiencing.
Miss Comforter herself. She's here.
Miss Comforter, who prefers to go by Kathy.
Right. Fair enough.
Normal human name.
Yeah. I will say, like, you're right. It does feel like Stephanie is not really coming from a place of experience here, which, like, you don't have... Well, obviously, she writes a lot of shit that she has not directly experienced with at all, but it does feel like you are just projecting what you think therapy is and just putting it in this space. And it's like, well...
Yeah. I think it's funny because I feel like it might also work from, like, an alien standpoint, you know?
It's
like,
true.
do they know what therapy is?
Right. That's true. Yeah, totally. And that, I guess you can give, like, Stephanie a lot more leeway in that way, because it's like, everything you're seeing is being through the eyes of an alien who's still trying to pick everything up, and you're like, okay, maybe I can excuse this.
Yeah.
It's true. There is something that I gotta give it to Stephanie. She does love a creature who is out of their comfort zone, who's considered highly intelligent and experienced, and goes about teaching at a university. Like, she did this with Twilight, and now she's like, but what if I do it with the host? Will they notice?
Yeah.
They won't notice.
No. Nobody's gonna know.
Nobody's gonna know. How would they know?
How would they know?
I also love that because the planet that Wanderer keeps referring to of seaweeds. I'm like, Stephanie, come on. Stephanie, come on. Hey, listen, world building, tough. Wouldn't wish it on myself, wouldn't wish it on anybody, but also seaweeds.
Yeah. It's like when they named that one Pokemon Seal, and you're like, really? Like, come on. Like, you can't be a little bit more imaginative than that.
Wait, have you guys, like, never read The Host before?
I read it in college.
Okay.
That was almost a decade ago.
Yeah.
And I have gone through so much brain trauma since that. I'm a different person. I don't remember reading. I remember a lot of things happening with eyes.
Yes.
I remember there being caves at some point that we get to.
Yeah.
And then I remember watching the movie at some point, and Saoirse Ronan and Jake Abel are in it, which is a choice.
Oh my gosh.
But reading this, it feels like the first time.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, yes.
I remember, like, super vaguely, like, the other random planets that they're gonna talk about. You think the seaweeds are bad? Like, I'm pretty sure there's, like, a planet where she was a sunflower or something. There was one where she was, like, literally a bat that used echolocation. Just, like, some weird stuff. It's so bizarre.
Yeah.
Like, the seaweeds isn't even the worst of it.
It only gets worse.
I will say, though, I would pay a lot of money to just be just a sunflower right now, though. Like,
just vibing.
Yeah.
Just let me blow in the breeze.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
the ideal existence.
Honestly.
Mm-hmm.
I just want to vibe in the sun and be really tall. Like,
is that too much to ask?
It's not. Man, that sounds great. We do get a reminder in this chapter of the eyes. Stephanie's like, hey, do you get it? There's an eye thing. There's something happening here with the sun and eyes. Do you get it yet? Like, yeah, we got it. We got it. And then Kathy goes on this long moment about their experience with Kurt. Sorry, these names are just... the idea of these souls, I guess they're not, I mean, they are aliens, but, like, they're souls, I guess.
Right.
Inhabiting humans, and the idea of, like, keeping the host's name, I find very humorous to me. Like, what's up? I'm an alien. My name is Kevin. Oh, I'm an alien. Yeah. My name is Kurt. Like,
it's your boy Kurt.
I also, this is one of those things that I find Stephanie did well. I don't often give her credit for good reason.
Valid.
But I think that's true. There's something about her choice to mention a therapist and what I think is like a college professor of Kurt, and them being on the front line at the beginning when all of this started happening. And that's how they started switching over hosts into souls. I think they mentioned in this chapter.
Yes, they did.
Which is a super, like, inconspicuous way for that to happen. Because, of course, they would have, like, social gatherings and stuff. Mm-hmm. I would not have thought of that, which is cool, I guess.
Yeah.
Pretty smart, Stephanie. The thing here that I did find pretty relatable as far as a therapy session goes is Wander is like, oh yeah, things are pretty bad. And Kathy's like, yeah, why don't you explain a little bit more? And Wander's like, yeah, well, I mean, and then just like lists off these symptoms that are like incredibly awful. Mm-hmm. And Kathy's like, what do you mean? Why didn't you tell me it was this bad? That felt very relatable to therapy, at least in my experience. So
it's like, you were holding on to this whole time. It's like, I didn't think it was relevant. I don't know. Right.
And it's always just like in the last 5 minutes, and it's like, oh, well, anyway, bye.
We're out of time. Bye. Good luck.
But we do get a little bit more information. I think Kathy was like, well, then we'll just switch you bodies. And of course Wander's like, no, I need to like suffer in silence, because that's how Stephanie likes to write characters.
Yeah.
I do like her attempt at like giving a reason why she can't switch bodies though, and you can like already,
it is a choice,
start to see like the like societal taboos for like switching bodies. Like for some reason that's seen as weak, you know. And I love that. Like, of course, like Wanderer, who's been through like 7 different planets, like would not want to be weak. Like she's lived more than even the people like within her own kind. Like that's got to be some sort of crazy, you know?
Right. Absolutely. There is a part in this chapter, well, there's a lot, especially towards the end, when Melanie starts to speak up and be like, the hell you say? You're not getting rid of my body. Like, don't fucking speak for me.
Hey, whoa.
Especially when I loved when Melanie was like, you have the audacity to be like murdering entire species and patting yourselves on the back. Like, don't talk to me like this. That is the part where Stephanie has added to her annotated playlist.
Oh.
Which we've mentioned before.
Yeah.
And previously, I have mentioned in chapter 1, we had the Death Cab song. In chapter 4, we had the Linkin Park song. So we're hitting all of the like Stephanie classics on here. There's one important Stephanie band that we have not hit yet. Would you like to guess which band that is?
Is this the chapter? Is it Muse? Is it time for Muse?
It is time for Muse.
God bless.
Yeah, baby.
So in this exact moment, Stephanie has recommended listening to Futurism by Muse. Really subtle pieces here.
Yeah.
So thank you, Stephanie.
I love it. Yeah.
Great. So this chapter ends with Wanderer being like, I am not going to let things be destroyed. Roar. I'm strong.
Mm-hmm.
And then that immediately, like, dissolves in chapter 6.
Yeah.
Which, like, listen, I get it. Therapy is tough. Kathy comes to... Kathy. Kathy comes to the...
Gotta love Kathy.
Gotta love Kathy. Kathy comes to the assumption of, like, well, while you have Melanie here, let's just figure out your plan. Let's just figure out like where Jared is. He went to Jared. Like, just figure it out, and we'll make it work. And as you know, sometimes the side effects of listening to Stephenie Meyer's work is turning on fire. Sometimes the side effects of therapy are yartzing. It happens.
Yeah.
Feelings are tough. I get it. It happens to me all the time. Is that normal? No, but like it happens. And so Wanderer is feeling this therapy. Could be why they have stopped going to appointments, which Kathy is bitter about but doesn't say anything. And decides to stumble into the city and starts to just yarts in a bush.
Yeah.
Then, of course, one of their superiors, for some reason, is just there. And is like, hey, don't. And also, why is this happening? Thought you couldn't do that. I thought you... Excuse me, I'm sorry. What is happening here? Seeker, it's not... I was very confused why she was here to start with, until we realized later on that, like, apparently Wanderer's case is the only one she has, and so, like, of course... She's just, like, trailing her.
Yeah.
It's like, well, I got nothing better to do, so sure. Apparently, Wanderer had sent a message before about some more maps or roads?
Yeah.
Question mark? That they are still trying to figure out.
Yeah, she thinks it's directions.
To, like,
yes, that's right. That's right.
Okay. The idea of having to, like, go through your brain... and having to write down things, to me it feels like almost like interpreting dreams, which sounds incredibly mentally taxing and painful. That sounds really tough. So good on you, Wanderer, because I would not want to do that. Especially because Stephanie goes into quite a bit of description on here about the memories and the directions as well, and it's like a slow, rough curve. Like, it sounds like a really sensual Siri talking about Google Maps directions.
Yeah.
And that's the only thing I could think about with this. Cody, I don't know if that happened to you because you were listening to this, if that is the vibe you got.
Yeah, it definitely did come across as like a very sensual ways, you know? Where it's just like, just some robot. Yeah.
Finally, hopefully in 2021 we get what we need, which is a hot, sexy Waze voice.
Yeah, who among us will finally come out?
30 feet. You have a ragged zigzag. No, Waze, I'm on the highway. There's not... Nope. Could not happen.
This is not sexy time. We can't
Are you flirting with me?
Yeah. Oh my god.
I can't wait to
kiss
do the
right
like.
Are we gonna kiss right now?
I can't wait until we get to that point with AI where I can just be like, oh my god, is my AI flirting with me? What is happening? I can't wait.
Oh my god, and that brings us full circle to Optimus Prime.
Yes.
Everything has a reason.
Hey. Yes. It all comes back.
Okay, but for real though, if I could get Optimus Prime to voice Waze, everything would change.
Oof.
Yeah.
Auga.
I would. That's what I'm saying. That is what I'm saying. Unsurprisingly, this chapter is just the Seeker being very confused about why Wander is not doing their job.
And kind of a jerk, too.
Kind of really
Yeah.
a jerk.
If you think about it.
I just like the part where the Seeker's like, oh my god, is your host really giving you a problem? Weak ass bitch. I'm like, oh my god, who are you?
I don't know, aliens were so catty.
And I love that Wanderer herself is even shocked, just like, what the fuck?
Take a note that this Wander is a weak ass bitch. Thanks. She's like, I'm standing right here. What are you doing?
Guys.
And you know what was really funny was when Melanie was like, oh my god, I hate her. And Wanderer was like, yeah, I understand.
They finally start to bond.
Like, not even denying it.
Like, listen, I get where you're coming from, you know?
I love that so much. I just want them to be friends. Is that so much to ask for? Is this gonna... Wait, hold on. Because I don't remember. Don't tell me. But also, is this gonna turn into an enemies to lovers, though?
Ooh.
Wait. That's
Stephanie?
the fic that I would read. I would read that.
Stephanie, you always say no homo, but like...
Not even a little? Not even a little, Stephanie?
They're sharing the same body, Steph.
Yeah. Fellas, is it gay to share the same body and brain?
To truly have one heart with your love. You know what I mean?
No one's gonna know you better than you.
Listen.
Exactly.
If you can't love
That's what
yourself,
I'm
I'm not gonna love anybody else. You know what I mean? Come on.
Are Melanie and Wanderer a fusion?
Listen. Finally, we're asking the important questions.
Yeah.
I can't wait to bring that up to my
got
therapist.
100% more interesting.
And be like, hey, therapist, I know you want to talk about like some really deep trauma, but can we talk about the sci-fi book that came out 13 years ago? And him be like, I don't have technology. I don't know what this is. I'll just stick to asking him about Optimus Prime. I feel like that works.
Yeah.
We will return back to that fusion question when we get into chapters 7 and 8 next week.
Ooh.
Also, really fucked up thing. Next week is episode 200.
Yeah.
I want to pass out. What the fuck?
Yeah.
Yo.
Why did none of
Anyways.
you stop us? How did you let us
Hell
keep
yeah.
going this long?
Since you all were knocking on our doors telling us to get Kyle here, why didn't you tell us to, like, stop?
No, never
Put us out of our
stop.
misery.
Jesus Christ.
Wow. So that's fun.
Anyways, speaking of folks who just won't quit, let's talk about our patrons who I love the most.
Yeah.
And yes, patrons, I do know how to say it correctly. I just prefer to say patrons. So,
It is more
there
fun.
you go.
Stuff the
I
big guys
agree.
there.
I just need to say things wrong, okay? just let me say words wrong.
It's core to my being. I need it.
Did I know that however was wrong? No. But am I gonna keep saying it? Yes.
Will we put it on a t-shirt? Probably.
Probably. It's fine. Cody, would you like to start?
Absolutely. Shout out Althea Johnson.
Thank you to Mallory Hardwick.
Shout out Katie Black.
I almost took Katie Black from you.
Yeah, how dare you?
I'm so sorry. She's just like, mine.
Greedy for patrons.
Thank you to Kylie Minty. I'm an only child. I should have known better. I can't.
We divvied up halfway. We're not getting it's.
I don't know.
It's okay. Shout out. Wait, where am I now? I have no idea. Shout out Elizabeth James.
Thank you to Jess Love.
Shout out Alex Dornan.
Thank you to Carrie Goldberg.
Thank you.
I don't know why I said that like a fucking serious newscaster, but thank you.
No, but it was beautiful.
I know, it felt like a serious like mood change. Like the lights had dimmed.
Yeah. All right, let's get fucking serious, all right?
No jokes. No jokes.
Yeah. Thank you to Mickey Meyer. Ooh.
Thank you to Zoe Steele.
Ow, yeah. Shout out Rebecca Cullen.
Thank you to Amy Taylor.
Woo, yeah. Shout out Molt Gray.
Thank you to our unofficial intern, who will never get paid but deserves all the money,
Yes.
Taylor Brown
Yes.
Town
Yes.
Lauder.
Yes. Shout out Danae Swan.
Thank you to my mom, who's not my mom, please stop asking, but is my mom, Kelly Beck.
Boing, 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 boing. Shout out Aaron Salinger.
Thank you to Sophia Salinger.
Woo, yeah. Thank you to Donna Kavanaugh.
Is this the closest I'll ever get to playing an instrument? Thank you to Jessica Hale.
Woo! And thank you, finally, to India Peach, our newest patron. Ooh!
I know I said this before, but I was lying. This is the part I've been the most excited for. Can you tell us what fanfiction you brought to the space?
Yes. Okay. So I was telling you guys earlier before I started recording that I was trying to find a fanfiction from back in the day that I could not find. So you'll have to use your imaginations to imagine Edward and Bella like raising Harry Potter as their son. But what I did bring to the table was this fanfiction called Family on AO3, and it's I just love the relationship between all the Cullens so much. And the summary is, after Bella's birthday party, Jasper feels awful, but his family is there for them. And it's like a 4-shot. So I'm gonna read you like half of the first chapter, because I just think it's so sweet.
No.
But it's called Family by Owen Harper's Girl on AO3, in case anyone wants to read it. Should I be Southern when I read Jasper's voice?
Yes.
Okay.
The
Whatever
answer
feels
is yes.
right. Yeah.
Oh god, how do I get in? Taking Blanche out to Galatoire's for supper. Alright, okay. I could have killed her, he said, his voice rough. I could have killed my brother's girlfriend, your best friend. He turned his head to look at her, and she saw his eyes were full of pain. Alice knew that if he could cry, he would be. Jasper, you slipped. We all have at some point. She reached out her arm again, but this time he stood and was 5 feet away from her before she realized he was gone. You don't get it, he said, hatred for himself clear in his voice. I'm a monster. Edward is going to hate me. I let Carlisle down. I let you down. He dropped to his knees, and she was beside him in a second, wrapping her arms around his shoulders. Thankful he didn't pull away this time. Stop it, she said. Jasper, Edward doesn't hate you, okay? You haven't let Carlisle down, and you certainly haven't let me down. We all slipped, Jazz, and we all know how hard it is for you. I know you don't want to hear that, but you've been amazing. So I know you'll be back on track now. Jasper looked at her and then buried his face into her neck, shaking violently. Shh, I'm here, Alice said, running one hand through his hair and the other up and down his back. They stayed like that for a long time, just being with each other, only going back to the house when the sun had risen again.
Whoa.
Wow.
Like,
That's
wasn't
so
that lovely?
soft.
Yeah, that was very soft. Also, impeccable
soft and so
voice
cute.
acting work.
Thank you so much.
How does it feel to be so talented, by the way?
Thank you.
Not you saying that you're, like, happy and that you're also talented. Like, share some with
Enough.
that. Goddamn. Ugh. I love that. Kyle, it has been an absolute joy to have you on the show this week.
Thank you so much
Ooh.
for having me, you guys.
Oh,
Ugh.
so lovely.
Where can folks go to support your work?
Yes, I have a TikTok that's probably what I'm most active on. It's at Smallest Kyle, and I just make a lot of anime, but also mostly Twilight videos. So if you want to check out some of like my skits and stuff, go check me out on that.
Hell yeah.
It is a follow that you will not regret. folks, I promise.
Yeah.
You guys are so sweet.
Well, as we say here where I am in the Pacific Northwest,
Get bit.
and get whipped.
Woo! Yeah.
Into the Twilight is an Earbud Media production. Our theme music is by Eli Krauss, and our artwork is by Maddie Padilla. Follow the show on Twitter at Into the Twilight, and support us on Patreon at patreon.com/intothetwilight. Send us an email or a fanfiction at intothetwilightshow@gmail.com. You can find Allie at Into Wild Places and me at Cody Crow. You've been listening to Earbud Media Production. Earbud Media, audio for everyone.